and a slam jam.
So I'm curious, why did you bring this game?
I bring two games where like I feel that I had a huge lead, but something goes wrong after 30 minutes in the both of the games. They want to check and they want to figure out what exactly wrong.
It's actually kind of funny. I specifically remember this game, and I specifically remember you diving when Morphling had buyback. I remember this game. Okay, this is funny. Okay, let's find out. So I will say to you and everyone watching, I believe this is the first time I've ever had somebody replay a game that I was in. I will willingly say that I am not a very good Void Spirit player, and kudos to anyone that had to go through this game with me. And you know, in a hostage, that's probably about the right name for you. So 6.5k carry player. Let's check it out.
Thanks and have fun.
I've still got it.
Try hard.
I would have considered stunning the Legion for that range creep. You even buy a wand too. So why did you buy a wand? I have to ask about this wand epidemic that I see here. Why'd you buy a wand? I'm curious. Hello?
I mean, if I will be ganked like later, anyway I need a wand. So, and if I will be ganked and I will be out of mana, I can just use it, something like that.
Okay, this is fascinating. I just personally believe against like Techie's Legion that like movement speed. I just think like Glove of Haste, Phase Boots, and a Bracer would be like really good for this lane. Just the movement speed to dodge the Techies, the Phase Boots to trade with the Legion, the Glove of Haste to also trade, and Bracer obviously can be a bit of tankiness if you want to go that route too. I'm not saying Bracer is required. I'm not even going to talk about it any further. I'm just surprised everyone's going for this extra 250 gold wand. I think it's overbought, but maybe I'm the one missing something. I don't know. I'll move on and not really worry about it too much, because you're 6k. We don't need to talk about that. So let's see here. Small little trick you can do. I don't know if you ever do it, but right here, you should A-click Legion and drag this creep with you, so that when you go for the range creep, this melee creep follows you, so that you can get both. Do you see what I'm saying?
Oh, I didn't know about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great thing to do. It's actually pretty advanced. Like, I'm not saying that like in a bragging way, but it's something where like if you have two creeps that you know are going to die at the same time or similar times, obviously in this case it's because one's under tower and one's a range creep that's kind of squishy. You should always try to A-click and drag one of them to the other. You obviously can't move the range creep, so it's always moving the melee creep towards it. Learned that one from Arteezy. Okay, this is a good play though. Okay, good aggression. Guy was out of position. Continuing here. That's a similar spot. You could even consider A-click dragging that other melee creep to you while you want to walk back to your other creeps. You can consider doing that. Same idea. Okay. I want to just take this time, because I am going to be coaching you obviously about an hour and a half, hour and 45. I want people to notice how I coach the 4K player and how he made a similar move to what the 6.5k player just made. And how I said how like it's based on how you make an aggressive move with your creeps. And in this case, we saw the exact same hero in two different games. And in the 6k replay, the guy goes for the stun and then immediately walks back for the creeps after he's done an ample amount of harass and then goes back to farm. In the 4k game, that was not what he did. So I know I'm teaching you, but I just had to show this as you did it right. So I don't often get that exact contrast scenario that quickly. Okay, so you did good there. Against Legion, I do not make 2 creeps die at the same rate. So right here, rather than attacking this creep that's getting hit by just 1 instead of 2, I would have attacked this one first to kill it. It's like once again a very minute thing, but you're basically setting this Legion commander up for like the perfect overwhelming odds. So I would have either actually started hitting the creeps forward so that one of these creeps stops taking damage, or I would have denied this one first, the top one first. Yeah, I just think you like alley-ooped a perfect overwhelming odds right there. Just something to think about. Certain heroes you want to make like multiple creeps die at the same time. Certain heroes you obviously don't want multiple creeps to be low at the same time. Itemization is good. Yeah, this is a good move. At this point, you're kind of willing to miss CS for that level of aggression because you had phase boots, so that's fine. Let's see here. Oh yeah, I remember. You go like the Armlet Shadowblade Deso build. I remember this. Okay.
Yeah, because I think the Radiance is bad item versus Morph.
Yeah, it is.
No damage.
I agree. I agree. I remember liking your overall aggression in this game, so it's gonna be interesting to watch your perspective from this one.
Yeah, but I feel like it's like a lot of was over aggression, and somehow like the Morph ended up like with the 6 slot, and I was just 5 slotted. And
yeah, absolutely. I remember, like, I'm used to having carries that do absolutely nothing. So I specifically remember this game and saying, I felt like you were pretty high impact, so we're going to look and see, like, how we can make sure you get the farm you need while doing so. We're just going to play this out. I think so far everything's reasonable.
Yeah, because second play is, like, probably the same. Like, it was also, like, 4 items versus 6 at 15 minutes for some reason. So I'm stopped farming, like, at 40 minutes or something. And I don't know why.
I'd say the big deal here... Let me rewind. Let me just play this out again. Okay, I guess my question is, like, does you denying creeps to Legion really do that much? Like, I guess I'm asking you. What's
At
up?
this point, not really. At this point, probably not, because she's already like level 6. She has ult, and maybe not.
Okay, so the issue I have here is that you're, like, really strong comparatively. Like, you obviously know you're ahead. You're being very aggressive, and you're posturing accordingly. And I think that you going for all of these denies is actually impacting your farm negatively because, let's be honest, they've actually nerfed denies a lot. She's getting half XP for every deny you get, and I understand that you're shutting her down, but, like, at some point, your timings are much more important than shutting hers down, right? And my emphasis is that you are very far ahead in this lane, and I feel like you should be able to clear this big camp every minute. Maybe even, like, the big camp and small camp every minute. On top of clearing the creep camp, or creep wave, excuse me. And if you watch, all it's really meaning is, like, it has to be every little bit of efficiency that's pushed for you. And what's actually happening is you're spending maybe 5 to 10 seconds of the last minute denying creeps. What that is actually doing is what's going to enable you to go jungle is killing the opponent creep wave as fast as possible, shoving it into their tower, and then jungling, right? And in this case, I think you are actually prioritizing shutting the guy down a bit too much. I think maybe around 7-8 minutes, I usually stop trying to shut down the offlaner and play for my own game. I usually get super annoyed as an offlane player when the opponent carries just pushing the lane into me and like I can't do anything about it. If you watch this game, let's see, right. If you watch this game, I'll give you the replay ID. Let me give it to you here. We're obviously not going to waste the coaching session time on it. It's an example where in the mid game, me and the Morphling, it's like maybe 8 to 9 minutes in, we're both top. We both started bottom, and then we end up both top here because we were aggro tri-laning. And what happens is, like, the Morphling, he can mess with me a lot, but he spends his entire time shoving the lane into my tower, not really denying me. He just hits me. He hits me and then shoves the lane into my tower, and every minute he was clearing the big camp as well as the wave, and I wasn't. Like, I was just getting a bit of the wave. So I want you to watch this with the intent to understand what I'm really talking about here, like at the highest level, like what this guy's ranked 2, by the way. It doesn't show it, but he's ranked 2. The Morphling. So I just want to show you the difference where both of you had a lead. You're both like attempting to extend your lead. You're doing it by shutting down the Legion commander. He's doing it by kind of shutting me down, but more so accelerating himself. And I think when you have less items than you think you should, this is a great example of what's happening, is you're prioritizing shutting down the opponent more so than yourself. Because I think you can agree with me that your timing is really compared to the Morphling, not compared to the Legion, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I like to think about it. It's like, who am I comparing my timing with? Like, sometimes it is the offlaner. Like, sometimes, like, depending on the matchup or whatever, like, if he's still level 5, kind of as you mentioned, but he is already level 6. Usually, like, I'll only prioritize shutting down the offlaner if it also accelerates my game to shut him down. It's kind of like if I'm laning against, like, Pango offlane, and I know the minute he gets level 6, I don't really want to lane anymore. Maybe I will prioritize shutting down his levels so that it allows me to lane longer. Like, that's why I'm doing it. But in this case, I definitely think you're over-prioritizing shutting down the Legion with these denies and stuff. Like, you're just not clearing a big camp every minute. You're actually having the lane shoved into you, which is honestly going to enable Legion to potentially rotate. It also gave him the bounty runes. I don't think you should have ever given him bounty runes here. And it all has to do with your priority of denying rather than just shoving the creep wave in over and over again. I feel like if I was Legion, I should be having like a bunch of skeletons running at me as I'm underneath my tower, starting at like the 8-minute mark. And I'm having to, like, battle these things fucking off every single time. They're 5 gold, right? Like, it doesn't actually benefit the Legion to get these CS. Like, it's not worth to get these skeletons. It's super annoying to fight them. Okay. So overall, I like this. It's obviously good. Forcing a bit of a reaction. You're strong. Oh, I came here. Yeah. There's that good-looking guy running away with the haze, doing nothing. Oh, that's okay. See ya. What does that Legion commander nuking you right there tell you?
There's vision.
Where? Like where?
On the right or on the left.
Yeah, wait, do they not have vision here? Did he actually just randomly nuke you? No. Oh, they have one right here. Okay. That's where I assume. I almost always assume it's the high ground. I don't know if you're aware, but this ward sees that camp.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I almost always assume it's there. For a second, I was like, I immediately checked here, and then like on the replay, it didn't show it. But yeah, I immediately check here. So the fact that you already have a sentry is really nice. So you, at this point, would fly your courier out. I've noticed that I get like a free ward every fucking game. The offlaner almost always reveals to me that there's a ward at some point. Like, it's pretty obvious. Like, when I was against the Morphling as PA, and when you watch that game, you'll notice that I went and pulled the camp. And, because he was like, the wave was like right here, and I wanted to farm something, so I pulled the camp so it'd be underneath my tower. And the Morphling came and contested me, and I was like, what the fuck? How does he know I'm pulling? Like, he shouldn't know yet that I'm pulling. Like, he doesn't have the information that my creep wave's not there yet. And so I instantly placed I bought myself a sentry, placed it here, and there was a ward over here. I'm like, oh, like, yeah, he saw me pulling. He had to have. I think it's at your level, it's actually really important to start considering immediately dewarding wards that you know they have based on, like, weird behavior. Like, that Legion Commander nuking you on that creep camp is definitely very weird behavior. So, I would immediately fly myself a sentry there. But since I see the sentry on the high ground, I would have proceeded to check in. Love watching myself miss every fucking Ether Remnant. Let's not talk about that. Okay. So I think the way you're playing on the map is good. It's a little awkward now because we're against techies.
Like, Morphling is not dying. Like, should like, the team gank Morphling, or should they like roll for the spells? Because I was feeling like I'm running at that team, and at this time, Morph just like farming creep all the time.
Okay, let's rewind this. I might be a bit lazy here, so let's check this out. Oh, we got silence out of it. I was actually fast forwarding. I'm like, why did he stun? Okay, so I figured there's a reason, but so at this point, the issue is I think it would have been natural to go mid. Their SF is very farmed though, so I think when we deal with heroes like Morphling, we have two options. We can either pick on the rest of their team because they don't necessarily want to contest us directly, or we can kind of like just run at the Morphling. And right now, I don't think our lineup really kills Morphling. Like, I don't really see in a reasonable capacity how we're ever going to kill Morphling. Because they have, unless we have like global plus 4 heroes, it's just not really going to work. So the way I look to invade farm in this case is like we have to take mid tower or we have to take bottom tower. And I think mid tower is going to be really difficult because SF's really strong right now, and they also have a techies. So I think running to the way you did here to farm is actually, like, to get this bounty rune is pretty good. And then the second you see me clearing this mid wave, because if it's not me, it could be you. I think clearing that mid wave was good. I think we actually just have to run at this bottom tower. I think we have to force this Morphling out of that area, and we have to basically collapse the map where we take this area, and then we can look to invade mid from there, and Morphling's forced to play up here. I guess you can't see my mouse on Discord. We play the bottom half of the map around their jungle, obviously, like the standard stuff where you take over that part. We force the Morphling to play the triangle in top lane. And what I look at in this case is shutting down Morphling's not a one-step thing. Like, we can't just kill Morphling. We can't just shut him down immediately. There's like, the way I identify this is like, we have to shut this guy down. So let's build ourselves like a path to like the result of shutting him down. So the way I look at this is they have techies, they have a DP support, so they don't really have much playmaking potential. Like the only thing they can really do is react to what we're doing and defend their own objectives. Like that's all they can really do. So at that point, we have to pick and choose our objectives really carefully. And because of what I just said, I think mid's going to be hard. I think mid's really hard because you're really our only tower push, because your other two cores are a Pango and a Void Spirit. Yeah, you have Jakiro, but against the heroes they have, I think Jakiro could just die if he tried to walk up and liquid fire the towers. So I think in this case, it's a weird game because both offlane towers were lost for both teams. But I think it also makes heroes like Morphling have a much harder time taking our safe lane tower if we kill his offlane tower. It's also vice versa. But I think you and I are both on the same page that, like, you're not content to just hit creeps right now. So, like, you want to hit creeps, but you also want to pressure while doing so. And this
That's
is
for sure. So
what's up?
yeah, that's for sure, because I feel like if we don't pressure them, we will lose the game like instantly. So, and there's next question. If you see on the map, Morphling right now farming is Ancient camp, and right now Ancient's boss located like at the bottom of the map, which is I think a little bit imbalanced. So we probably need to push him out of there, or what?
Yes, so that's exactly what I'm saying, is where, like, at this point, we're not going to be able to shut him down immediately by killing him or anything. We have to slowly but surely constrict the map. Like, that's what we have to do. We have to slowly but surely eliminate farm for him and the rest of his team. The fact is, your Void Spirit player is pretty bad at Void Spirit. He lost his mid lane, and SF took his tower. So, like, it's going to be pretty tough. Like, it's an uphill battle for us to overcome the situation we're in. I can tell you as a carry player, I've been in this situation countless times. Like, you know, I'm flaming myself as like kind of a joke, but like your mid laner loses, your mid tower's gone, but you're also against a hero that like technically outscales you or whatever. So the way I look at Morphling is he doesn't really want to fight us. So it's similar to Anti-Mage. Like, Morphling's obviously a better fighter than Anti-Mage, but it's similar. Where we can't kill him, but he can't really fight us. So the way we do this is we decide where he's farming and just walk at him. Like, that's how I do it. Like, I just walk at the Morphling. Whether or not we want to smoke, if we really think we could kill him with 4 heroes, that's great. But this game, I think us killing him is really hard. So I would have just walked at his part of the map. I think cutting off mid is really important because we are still trying to, like, at this point, you've taken top, you're done with top. Like, I don't really see you playing top as, like, benefiting us at all, right? Like, you're not going to take that tier 2. There's no objective to take. At that point, if you were playing top, you would be preventing them from taking the tier 1. Our own tier 1. But that is not, like, a relevant... That doesn't do anything, right? Like, you're agreeing with me that that's not relevant here. When I'm in this rough spot where I feel like I need to do something, my play is, like, always walk at this bottom tower. Like, that's... Not always. It's either mid or bottom, but in this case, because I talked about the dynamic of mid lane, I would be forcing SF to potentially go bottom and then leave that area. Like, I would kind of be playing around this SF. Like, that's, like, making the SF react to me to defend the Morphling, and if he doesn't react, we take objectives. It's a weird game, but it's a situation where it actually benefits us if objectives are dying.
Yeah, except there's next problem that they have attaches, so like we just can walk up like super easily to hack now.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying, where at this point you need to plant your foot in the ground and say, like, I'm playing this part of the map and you need to take it over. Against techies specifically, it's even harder to organize. But fortunately, you are like a Wraith King, a hero that could afford to technically run over 20 mines and die. Obviously, that's not ideal, but like in pubs, this is hard to coordinate, right? But like as a carry player, if I'm a mid and I'm having a rough game and my carry player says I want to run a bottom tower, like I'm going to listen to you, unless it's like absolutely insane. But I'm going to listen to you. My point is, like, you are the strongest hero on our team, and in this case, you have to like establish where you want to play. And your 2 options are mid or bottom. We talked about why it's not top. So your options are mid or bottom, and I would come to the conclusion, because this SF's really scary, that it should not be mid. Like, we want this SF... We kind of treating him like a timber saw. We're either ganking him with 4 heroes and he's dying, or if there's any teammates behind him, he's just really scary. Like, that's how I look at this SF right now. So we have to force him to either be alone or play away from the SF. So, like, cutting this mid wave serves as a way to play away from this SF. So, like, if you wanted to cut it, sure, but that's why I'm cutting it, for instance. Like, I'm telling you my thought process. I'm like, I don't really want to fuck with this SF. He's pressuring my mid lane, so I'm just going to clear this mid lane. I would appreciate if you now, at this very moment, TP'd bottom and push this out. You can see this Morphling. He's on our side of the map. He actually has to run away from you. Like, even though he's kind of strong, like, he could maybe trade with you a bit, if he's on our side of the map, like, the threat of your teammates, like, coming in and helping is going to force this guy to run away. So, I actually say this a lot in my 4K coaching sessions, but you don't really get to see it play out. There's a lot of circumstances in super high Dota where the only solution is to recognize that you're supposed to just run at somebody. They can't actually stop you from running at them, but you also can't really do anything to them. Like, if you run at this Morphling, what do you think the net effect is going to be? Like, do you ever
sure I will lose money and he will lose money, but that's the question, how he end up more farm than me in the end.
So the question is, like, okay, how do I word this? So obviously you didn't go a farming build. You went like an aggressive build. You didn't go for this Radiance. Like, what you're doing right now, where you're like trying to cut creeps and farm jungle and like push lanes, would technically be more effective if you were just going for the Radiance. But obviously, like, I'm saying you're not going for that. So at that point, the creeps you're farming have to also be walking at the right objective. And in this case, if you walk at mid tower, you're not shutting down the Morphling. But if you walk at bottom tower, you are also shutting down the Morphling. Like, do you see what I mean by that?
Yeah, I got the idea,
Yeah.
So the either push him out, take the tower, and take the ancient control.
Yeah.
That would be the play.
The likelihood is he's going to just leave and go top, right? Like, that's the likelihood of what's going to happen. So first off, if you force him top, he's effectively not going to be at a fight that happens bottom. So if a fight were to happen bottom, it would be 5v4. But if you just walk at mid tower right now and don't walk at the Morphling, if a fight happens, it could be 5v5, where like the Morphling just shows up kind of late and cleans up your team or whatever. You see how the difference there? So in this case, I usually like to walk at the guy that doesn't want to farm or doesn't want to fight. The guy that doesn't want to fight on the opponent team, I just walk at him. And if the opponent team is coming to help him, then at that point maybe you can consider like backing off and not overcommitting or whatever. But the point is, if you don't initiate this process, Morphling in the meantime is just going to farm. It's like if you don't mess with this guy at all, he's just going to keep doing what he's doing. So, like, if you watch my PA game, it's actually a very high-level game. I showed you already that link. The enemy team runs at me for, like, the first 20 minutes of the game. I had absolutely no desire. Like, I really want you to watch this game with the intent of what this Morphling does to me and what you could do to the Morphling. The Morphling, in this case, is, like, a harder counter to me in the sense that he actually could kill me in this game. But I want you to see how, in this game, the first 20 minutes, the Morphling spent his entire game farming while running at me. Like, he was farming just as many creeps, but it was, in the meantime, he was putting himself in my face the entire game. And it was super annoying. And I'm telling you, if you were to, like, run at this Morphling whenever he's in the way of your own objective, like, if there's 2 objectives for you to choose from, and Morphling's at one of them, do you think Morphling functions well as, like, a tower defender?
Obviously not.
No, he doesn't, right? So, if it's like a Bristleback, on the other hand, I probably wouldn't just run at the Bristleback, but you also don't feel pressured to pressure a Bristleback. You know, like, that's not a thing. So, and the point being here is that you're choosing one objective to run at, and what I've learned in my experience over time is that choosing the wrong objective between 2 scenarios like this can be pretty game-changing. It's not going to, like, lose you the game instantly, but I just want to talk to you about how, like, running at this mid tower, I hope for all the reasons I've listed, can help you understand that it's not nearly as good as running at bottom. The rest of the team... Okay, think about this. The opponent team, do they want to play with their Morphling right now?
No, they won't.
No, they won't, right? So, if you go on the SF, is the opponent team happy to be there?
I think yes.
Like, they want to play
Because
around
they want to
SF, right?
Oh.
Like, that's, if you think about their opponent cores, who does the Legion want to play with? Like, Legion, isn't she like an enabler right now? Like, she doesn't have Blink or anything. So, isn't she like an enabler? Like, she helps her other heroes be stronger, right?
Well, yes, they just like running around as 4 while he's farming, obviously, and defending the tower. So in the mid lane, to not let us go in their jungle.
Yes, exactly, right? So, like, the rest of their team is meant to be making space for the Morphling. So if you're, like, running at the rest of their team, the Legion's almost certainly going to be there. The Techies is setting up around mid lane for sure. He could have been setting her up around bottom, but, like, that seems a bit weird since you've been playing top this whole time. And then Death Prophet as a support, she's not going to function independently at all. Like, the way I look at their lineup is Legion and Death Prophet, they don't function independently at all. And the hero they're going to play around is SF. So, this is how I think about Dota, right? Like, that's who they're going to play around. So, in some games, it would maybe be correct to run at this SF, if you really feel strong enough to do it. Like, where, like, whatever the opponent hero is that you're letting farm, it's better to shut down the SF than it is to shut down that guy. Like, that's what I mean by this. In this case, SF's really strong. He won his lane by a fluke, complete fluke. He should have lost to that guy. But, okay, I'm done being a memer. But, he won his lane. So this guy's super powerful. Legion wants to play behind him, and you're kind of running yourself into a brick wall right now. So the way I look at this is the way we get rid of, like, the way we pressure Morphling is not, or the way we capitalize on Morphling not wanting to fight is not by fighting his team. It's by running at the Morphling. There's always 2 options. When there's a hero that doesn't want to fight, you run at his team or you run at him. And in this case, you chose to run at his team, so I think it's like a reasonable decision, but I don't think it's correct. And it feels really awkward for the team. Because notice how now Morphling rotated to the mid lane. Notice how he's around this fight. He doesn't even need to show up necessarily, but he could be here. Yeah, here he is, cleaning you up. He actually just killed you.
Anyone here know what a dead lane is?
Do you see how big of a difference, like, him showing up to this fight at the end and killing you is, compared to you, like, running at Morphling, forcing him to TP top? Like, isn't his natural reaction just going to be to go top here when you walk at him? He's just going to waveform into the trees and TP out, right?
Yep.
That's what he's going to do, 100% of the time. And then in that case, he's never killing you here. Like, that's never happening. The same thing happened in my PA game where there was one point where they stopped running at me, and they kind of had to give up on that. It was like 20 minutes, 25 minutes into the game, they stopped running at me, and then I cleaned up and got one kill on their Morphling, and the game was like so much different. Like it was just so easy at that point. And I think it was because the opponent did improperly like choose to run at my team rather than me. My team was communicating all types of stuff like we're really strong, we can fight them if they go on us, fight them, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I think the enemy team in this case is thinking similar things. They're like, our SF's really like if I'm SF, I'm like they're not gonna fuck with me. Like there's no way. I've got Legion behind, I've got a Techies, I've got Death Prophet support. Like even then, like Death Prophet support's kind of good in that scenario. So let's see what you do here. So this is definitely not the part of the map we want to be playing. This is super awkward. Super awkward. So we already talked about why you don't want to play top. The reason why you want
to Shadow Blade and I wanted to run on Morph, but I obviously was without an ulti. So yeah, but that looks like a bad TP since you don't kill anyone.
So like, my question is, if you TP top and Morphling just TP's bottom, what happens?
I will lose a lot of time. Looks like.
Doesn't he just proceed to trade farm with you, and all he had to do was TP away, right?
Yeah.
Like the way I look at this is like, because you don't kill Morphling very easily. I know you have a Shadow Blade, which is a fine. I don't hate your item build or anything. Like if you want to go this.
Yeah, but if I build Shadow Blade, I want to make like a surprise gank, like at least to make some payoff from this item.
Okay. So it's like one of those things where it's like whenever I talk to 6K players, like your mindsets are never like delusional. Like it's never crazy. It's always harder to talk to high level players because they usually have a reason. It's just like a lot of the time the reason is obviously wrong. Like I learned that lesson a lot. Like I had the whole thing where I'm like, this is why I did it, guys. Like what the fuck? And then like eventually they have to convince me that I'm wrong. So what I'm trying to say is that your hero does not threaten Morphling, period. The way you shut down heroes like Morphling in this case is you take their towers. Like that's how you shut them down. Is you have to first take objectives before you can kill. Like before. How do I word this? So in my game, I was playing PA against Morph, and Morph was like way stronger than I was in fights, and the opponent kept trying to force our towers. Okay, like that's what they were doing. And I want you to watch that replay with all of the things I'm talking to you in mind. The opponent kept trying to force our towers because their carry was stronger than ours in the game. And my team, when do you think they fought them? My team.
Maybe on high ground, I don't know.
Like on their own objectives. That was the only time they ever fought, right? Like was when it was underneath our towers, right? Because like their carry was stronger. They knew they were in control of the map. So they ran at our objectives. I think you're in the reverse right now, where you're stronger than their carry for the short term. And what that means is you have to just run at objectives. If this carry was like a drow, sure. Like, buy a Shadow Blade and go kill the drow. But it's not a carry that you're going to just like Shadow Blade on top of and kill. Like, that's not... like, could it possibly work? Sure. But like, if that guy's not bad, he's not going to die to your Shadow Blade gank as a Morphling. It shouldn't happen. Your Shadow Blade could kill other heroes maybe. And I understand that you bought this Shadow Blade and you want to like surprise people, but it's just this whole mindset you've had for the last like 3 minutes where you feel like you want to get something done. And if you watch pro matches or like even high level matches where one team feels like they need to get something done, if that opponent's safe lane tower is not dead, they just go kill it. Like you have to kill that fucking tower. It has to die. Like you can't get anything done on the map if that tower is alive. I can't even explain it much better than that. Like, if you are in the case where your team wants to force objectives and this tower's alive, you're just not going to be able to do anything. Like you can watch pro games and see how much teams like Team Secret, who are like trying to turtle, how much emphasis they'll put on defending this tower. And the reason why they put so much emphasis on defending that tower is because of how important it is for the opponent. You watch players like me, if I'm losing like this, I will be in this lane 100% of the time. Like, in these games that I've been playing, I'll just tell you from my own personal perspective. I played three games on my main account yesterday. and they all felt really straightforward to me. Like, yeah, I didn't play perfectly, like I was a bit rusty and everything, but the way the dynamic of the flow went, I never had to describe to my teammates where they were supposed to play on the map and stuff. But when I play these like 6 to 7k games, I feel like a disconnect between me and my teammates where we're losing, and all I want to do when we're losing in this scenario is just kill this tower. That's like all I want to do. That's all I care about doing. Nothing else on the game matters. It really doesn't. You can watch pro matches and verify exactly what I'm saying. I know I'm right here. So it's like, you'll see me as like a void spirit, and I'll be in my games, and I'll be like to my viewers, I'm like, I don't really know what to do. Like, I just want to kill this tower. I'll run at this tower for literally 20 minutes in a row, and I can't kill it. Like, because no one on my team in this bracket ever shows up. Like, they just don't. You'll see this a lot in my games if you actually watch closely. It's very frustrating. And so I'm not trying to like come from this, point of like superiority or anything, but it's definitely, you're in this mindset where you need to get something done, and you're skipping to the part where we're supposed to kill Morphling, which is like 3 or 4 steps down the road. It really is. It's like 3 or 4 steps down. I think we need to kill this bottom tower. I think we need to overtake this jungle, the bottom jungle. I think we then need to slowly take over mid. Obviously, they have a techie, so this process might take longer than it should. We need to then take like this middle tower over, kill it, and then at that point we can look to run at and gank Morphling. Like, that's when we can then look to do this. And
basically, I'm at least like 5 minutes late to do this objective, right? Because it should be done like on the 13 minute probably, somewhere there.
Yes, I'm saying that your whole play in the laning stage could have probably been a bit more aggressive with your farming, where you're like accelerating your own timings faster and faster. I think it has a lot to do with you have to recognize that the way to get to this Morphling is by you getting as strong as possible as quickly as possible. So that comes with taking as many objectives as possible, farming as many creeps as possible, right? Like, that's what you're.
Can we open with network stat so we can check?
Oh yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Between me and Morphling.
So like, just imagine no death mid and like 4 big camps early on in the game, right? That's what this is.
Yeah, we've been even in this game.
And not necessarily is that perfect, but you're even. And the point is that while you're both even, you're killing his objectives, you're taking over the map. Maybe he's going to get some of your objectives. Like, his natural response as a Morphling, if he's a good player, is if you try to take his objectives, is he going to fight you?
Looks like no.
He would probably just split push and try to take your objectives too, right? Like, that's probably what he's going to do. That's what Morphlings, Anti-Mages, PAs, that's what they're all going to do. They don't want to fight you, so they're going to try to take objectives of their own if they can. And then at that point, you're going to get some, like, awkward decisions where, do we try to trade? Do we then TP and respond to the Morphling? In this case, I would definitely just trade because Morphling's really hard to kill. I don't think the enemy team is easy to fight into either. They have very strong team fight. Very little catch, right? They have very little stuns. So I'm thinking
the win scenario is just AFK and let more farm, but our win scenario is like we cannot just farm because we will lose.
Absolutely. And the way I look at these games is because you can't kill him and because you need to force the issue, you need to take as many objectives as you possibly can, like as quickly as you possibly can. Like, some games it's going to be slow. Some games that it's going to be a real uphill battle where you have to take like 10-15 minutes to take those 2 tier 1s. But if you're not starting it now, it's just going to keep delaying and keep delaying and keep delaying, and the game's going to keep extending and keep extending, right? Like, so the timing that we can finally mess with this Morphling is just going to keep getting later and later. So you going to this top half of the map, even if you were to get a kill or 2, it's actually not going to do anything. Like, if you really think about it, it's not going to do anything. Because we're not going to get objectives. You're the only hero on our team that really threatens anything. You're the strongest hero on our team by a long shot. Both your mid and you are down by about 1,000 to the opponent cores. Like, we just need, like, but we still have stronger team fight. We have a Pango, we have a Silencer. Like, I just want you to watch players like myself and like other high-ranked players. Like they probably do it even better than I do. But when they're the team that's supposed to be forcing objectives, like, they will be here. Their entire team will be here. We have to consolidate our resources here. Like, we have to put all of our heroes onto one half of the map and take it over. Like, we have to do this at this point. Like, even if you go on this guy, like, I think I come to follow you here. Like, then what? You know what I mean? Like, my Aether Ribbon got manted, right? Like, I can't
I
even do
thought
anything.
it's like zero impact play.
What?
Zero impact play.
Yeah, this guy doesn't get killed. Like, you running at him and then farming the creep wave is great, meaning, like, forcing him to stop farming that creep wave and pushing it out. Because you're effectively saying, you're not farming this creep wave, I'm farming it, so you're getting the farm, he's not. That's a way that you can slowly minimize his farm. I really implore you to watch the replay ID I gave you after this session for all of this that I'm talking about. It's done by example of what this Morphling did. And this is the trap that we get into. Where, here's what happens in my mindset. I'm just going to tell you what I'm thinking. I want this bottom tower. I don't really know why. It's really hard to process this stuff in the middle of a game. But I've talked about this in a lot of the teams I was ever on, where in the middle of a game something feels really awkward, and there's really no way to talk about it until after the game. I want this bottom tower, but in my mind, for whatever reason, I can't get it. I'm like, I can't get this tower. And at the end of the day, the reason I'm not getting it is because we're not running 4 heroes at that bottom tower. So I'm like, well, I guess I got to make a move somewhere, because I'm thinking the same thing you are. Like, we're not happy with nothing happening in this game. So suddenly we're making this move top. We're stuck in this endless loop of making a play on top. So yeah, we kill Death Prophet. Yeah, maybe we kill the Legion. Now what?
To join my race.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Like, now what?
Now I think we will take mid tower.
Do we?
I think yes. I hope so.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
What happens when you go bottom? Look at the map orientation. What happens when you go bottom?
Everybody out.
On the opponent team?
Yeah.
And where did Morphling go?
He's going top.
Didn't okay, I'm not like saying I'm like how you know, all knowing. Isn't that exactly what I told you was gonna happen if you went bottom?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. So I want you to think like you're obviously at that point where it takes really high level thinking to like reliably like grow as a player, right? Unless you're like as a carry player, it's all about just fundamentals. Like if you're like a mid lane player, you can kind of gain MMR by just like styling on people, winning your lane, snowballing the game kind of shit. But if you're a carry player, it just comes down to like fundamentals of the game. Like you're going to be efficient. Everyone in this bracket, like your mechanics are fine. You're going to be an efficient player when it comes to like if you're playing the map wherever you are, you're going to farm a lot of the creeps, all that kind of shit. But now it comes down to playing the map properly and understanding where on the map does what. And I know it seems like I say like the dead lane concept is like low level players, but at your level, I'm not just going to say the dead lane concept. I'm going to say to you, when you go here, what's going to happen? You know, like, who's going to do what? Why? Like, where are the heroes going to show up? Like, you at the 6k level are capable of understanding this. So, like, I told you, if you go bottom, the Morphling's going to run top. If the opponent does defend, it is going to be 4v5. Period. It is going to be 4v5. And they're fighting underneath their own tier 1. So out of all the favorable engagements, also, if we kill 2 heroes like we did top, we're killing this tower. Like, that's what's also going to happen. So not only are you taking a more favorable engagement by being down here, but the same amount of net kills will result in more objective taking. So, basically, the process of taking this bottom tier 1 should have started about 13 minutes in or so. Maybe 12. I would have to go back and check. That moment where I cut the mid wave and you were supposed to TP bottom. It should have started right there. And instead, it's now starting at 20 minutes and 30 seconds. So the entire process to get the ball rolling of shutting down this Morphling has now started 7 to 8 minutes later than it should have. And so now, like, let's see what happens. So you walk in this bottom tower.
Mega kill.
Your Void Spirit's feeding like a dumbass, but we're going to get bottom tower. Same thing here. You know, we killed Morphling. Even then, you know, we killed Morphling. Fuck.
No, but we have skeletons. They're pushing T2, so I don't think I need to stay there if like skeletons pushing. So I think it was.
Yeah, I think you having skeletons pushing is what makes that fine.
This was not fun play because I have like miscalculated.
Oh, this is the
mana for-
one where you literally had exact mana when you died. I remember this shit.
Yeah.
This is a bug, by the
Thanks,
way.
Gabe.
Report to fucking
Thanks,
Valve.
Gabe.
Fucking
Thanks,
Gabe.
Gabe,
This is
for
actually
that.
Gabe's fault. I specifically remember this. What the fuck is this, Gabe? 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 Okay. So I think this play was actually reasonable. Because your skeletons were pushing bottom, you were pressuring the tower, you wanted to rotate top, that's actually great. This is kind of the process that I wanted, where we take bottom tower, they're forced to be top. If we want to fight them, it's while you're representing some split push threat bottom, and we take a fight top. Like, that's where we're probably going to fight them. It's going to be a natural process that happens. We take that tower, we eventually collapse on mid. This entire thing actually makes sense to me when I'm watching it. Sadly, that was an incredibly unfortunate occurrence that just happened there. You know, not much else to say about that one. That shit just happens sometimes. But I would have liked all of this process to obviously be 7 to 8 minutes sooner. So let's then talk about... Okay, so at this point, we're actually kind of winning fights. Obviously, super
Yeah, I
awkward.
started like rolling over them, but I don't understand at which point like you'll start losing them after he got Scabby or something like that.
Okay.
Radiant's middle
Because we had a huge lead. It was like 12 to VK, and it should not be like close, in my opinion, at this point. But
Okay.
somehow I managed to throw it.
So the only part I'm going to emphasize real quick is notice, like, I'm not saying this to like rub it in again. Notice the process that happened here. We took bottom tower, we fought them here, we then took mid tower, we killed more heroes, we took Roche. That's like, that is the script for Dota 2. It really is. Sometimes it's like mid tier 1 first, then bottom tier 1, or some shit like that, right? Like, I'm saying that the events are the same. Like, sometimes the order will be different. We basically spent as a team like 6 to 7 minutes lollygagging in the top lane and delayed this entire process by 7 minutes. And so the point we're at right now is what we should have reached at like maybe 18 or 19 minutes. And so I just want you to keep this in mind, that the game could have been accelerated. We're now going to proceed with the game as is, obviously, right? Like, it's 24 minutes in. We have the Aegis. We also have map control now. We're actually capable of fighting them because we have some items. And we're at the point where that bottom tier 2 still has to die. And the way I look at this is that when you're Dire, it's a bit more awkward. I think it's why Radiant's win rate is higher. Because on Radiant, you just play around Roche in top tier 2, and then once you take both, you move to the bottom half of the map. I think it's really important that we consolidate on 2 lanes. We can either decide to pressure these 2 towers, or we decide to pressure these 2 towers. If you want to take this part of the map, you know, that's fine with me. But if we feel like we can't take this tier 2 tower, there's just no reason to be where we are. Let's see what happens here. You know what? Our silencer gets caught. Okay. Let's see. So this is just our silencer kind of being bad, but that's fine. He got smoked on, maybe. Okay, so you're going to regen up. You're going to push out mid. Okay. So you're now telling me as a carry player you want to play bottom and mid. So my hero should naturally rotate to mid. Maybe I'm scared of techies. I'm watching myself play this, because you're doing this right. No, we've consolidated to mid. Okay, this is good. And we're going to smoke top, and you're going to TP.
Dire's
Okay.
top tower is under attack. Dire are scanning.
I think our move here is all actually fine. We just didn't find anybody.
Dire's bottom tower.
I'm just watching the minimap because that's all that really matters right now. Your movements are fine. We catch somebody finally. That's basically what we've been trying to do for the last like 3 minutes, which has been good. Like, it eventually works. That's how Dota usually plays out. We're looking for more. I think us chasing there was really bad, actually, in general. I think we should have just killed SF and taken the tower. And I actually think that is primarily on you, actually. I'm not, like, trying to blame you here. My point is you're the hero that takes mid tower. If we get this kill on SF, we have to get something off of it. It's not enough to just, like, kill them over and over again. We have to kill them, take a tower. Kill them, take a tower. Kill them, take a tower. And then, like, maybe after this first Aegis, 3 towers are gone. And then for the next Aegis, we go high ground. Because of our timing being really delayed, we're obviously not ending the game on this first Aegis. So I think it's kind of on you to, like, just say, okay, we killed SF, capitalize. I think your catch heroes are allowed to just continue chasing if they want. But, like, also you can say, like, guys, we need mid tower. Like, I need you with me. Like, if you think you need us, then you should call for your team to stay with you. Like, if my carry says, like, hey, guys, let's take mid, I need your help, I assure you I will stay with you. But, like, if you just say, I take mid, like, I'll make a decision consciously to myself, like, you know, I'll either keep chasing to shut off the map while you do that, or I'm going to stay with you. Like, it's kind of on my, like, players like me, the mid laner, to decide whether or not I'm supposed to play with you on this case. But the reason why it's kind of on you here is because you are the hero that's supposed to take the tower. I've learned this the hard way myself, where when we get kills, are you the hero that's supposed to chase for more, or are you the hero that's supposed to kill the buildings? In my case, like in this specific game, I understand you went the Shadowblade build, which is early game. It was really good for trying to catch people out. But at this stage in the game, you have a Void Spirit, you have a Pango, your teammates actually have some reach, like they have the ability to catch people. It's not your job anymore to continue these chases. So I think it's really important we get this mid tower here, which we don't. Let's see. So you go back mid. Oh, I remember this. So we do pressure this lane while SF is dead. We force out the fort. We do take this, I believe. No, we back off. Yeah, Techies makes things really fucking weird. Let's see what happens.
A dominating performance.
I think the way you're playing is good.
Double
I
kill.
think this is actually all very good. Because you did turn around and go for the mid tower, so I gave a whole speech about something you did right anyway. Okay. Like, this is all good. You're running, like, the reason why it's good is because right now we want to take over this part of the map again for Roche, while our support's playing away from us bottom to clear out that wave. This is actually all good by us. This is good. I remember this game being a pretty solid game. So, you end up going bottom.
Yeah, that's why it was so painful to lose it, like, because I was feeling like we're gonna win it.
I think this is a big mistake by you right now.
Decent chances, I mean, we had a decent chances to win it.
So this is where the game goes wrong, for sure. This is bad. This is really bad. So, the point is, against Techies especially, but it matters in every game. It actually matters in every game, but Techies really emphasizes this. You have to just choose a part of the map and keep it against Techies. Because if you control that part of the map, he's never able to lay mines, and then you have, like, the hero's basically not in the game, right? Because you control that area, the hero is all about his mines, you know exactly where his mines are not, and you just play that area. So at this stage in the game, you took mid-tier 2, and we have the choice between, the whole idea of the dead lane idea is that we can only play 2 lanes. So we have the choice between playing top and mid or bottom and mid. And because Roche is the next objective, and it's spawning in the next, sometime in the next minute or two, we have to just play this part of the map relentlessly. Like, you cannot give up this part of the map. So, like, our Jakiro playing bottom is actually fine because he's pushing in the lane. It's like the equivalent of you playing bottom by yourself at like 15 minutes in, where the team's willing to fight without their carry. You know, like you're the one hero on the team that is best off farming the part of the map that nobody else, that nothing's getting accomplished on. Like nothing's being done here, but we're just pushing it out. It's like a super early Wraith King farming his own dead lane at like 10 minutes in. It's like, who cares? Like, you're farming the lane, your team doesn't need you, you're not dying. It's like, that's what Jakiro's doing right now. He's become that one hero on your team that clears the wave, but isn't needed to control an area. Like, you don't need Jakiro top in order to control top and mid being pushed. So, because SF's dead, yeah, Jakiro's bottom, fine. The rest of the team needs to have this understanding that top is the play right now. Roche area is the play. So, anything we do bottom here is the exact same as you playing top 13 minutes into the game. It's like the exact same, where obviously it's reversed, but it's like not the part of the map we're supposed to be playing based on the objective we want to take, because we are the team that's supposed to be taking objectives. And anything we do here is just going to be very low impact compared to anything on the top half of the map. So we end up going bottom. I think this TP by you is very very antsy. If you want to like walk bottom, potentially looking for a kill, push out the wave because you don't find a kill, and then immediately TP back top, that's like a worthwhile consideration, because what you did at that point was you kind of like clean sweeped across the map. You checked and saw if anybody was bottom. You cleared them out of bottom, and then we can like smoke back into the top or something. But then again, by you going bottom, look at the top lane and the mid lane, right? Like, look at what happens on the map when you leave top. Like, once we bring the... Like, notice where I am right now.
Yeah, you're top.
I'm like, this is another situation where as a player in these 6K, 7K games, I'm like, where's my team? You know, like, all I'm thinking is I just naturally want to play around Roche. Like, that's all I want to do. I'm like, you know, in my mind, I can't really process exactly what's going on, but I just want to be on Roche. Like, that's the objective that occurs in my mind. It's like the same thing as at the 15-minute mark where nothing's going to happen beneficial for our team because the whole team is not playing the right part of the map. It's the exact same scenario, and I'm going to keep playing here because I'm like, I want Roche. So I guess I'll just... in these games I've learned I can't really tell people to come play around me because it doesn't work. So I try to tell them, like, you know, or I'll try to say, like, this is the objective we need. Okay, so now we're on the top half of the map. Great. I don't think we smoked, but it's the equivalent of smoking. Like, this is what I wanted. You know, we do, like, make some gank move to take back over the top half of the map. This is, like, what I want. So, was Roche just not up? Is Roche just not up right now? Okay, so we got really unlucky on a late Roche spawn, is what happened here. But Roche is definitely still our play. Notice my play is to cut top lane. I give no shits about going high ground, by the way. Like, this isn't fucking happening, in my mind. Like, I remember this game. Like, this shit is not happening. Like, we are not going high ground against techies with no Aegis. I also know, like, in my mind, I know Roche is respawning at, like, sometime in the near future, right? So...
Yeah, but remember that I had, like, ulti, and if not now, then when? Because,
with Aegis?
like,
what do you mean?
the window to win the game is closing right now. Like, it's
Okay,
10
how do
minutes, and...
Okay, so... I don't think the average player, even in the 6K bracket, understands the advantages that high ground offers. Like, I know you understand that, like, being on your own high ground is an advantage, but there's a reason why pro teams have to be, like, 15K ahead before they go high ground. So, this is a very common misconception in your bracket, actually. Like, it's funny, because I'm very familiar with the misconceptions your bracket has, because on my Smurf and shit, because I play with you guys. Yes, obviously we need to end this game. But the way you look at it is we need to end this game, go high ground. I look at it as we need to end this game, control the top two lanes, take Roche, accrue a 10 to 15k gold lead, and walk high ground with Aegis. Like, that's how I look at it. Like, because that's the only way we're going to end the game. Like, we're not going to end the game just walking at them with barely any lead. The game's still pretty even. Like, and obviously in my mind, I don't know we're exactly 1k up. Like, I don't know that, but I know we're not very far ahead right now. Like, I know it's a close game. So it's like, in my mind, you and I are both identifying the same objective at the end of the journey. Like, we're both saying this is what needs to happen. We're in this state of the game. You're just skipping all the necessary steps to get there and, like, kind of just shortcutting yourself. Like, that's what you're trying to do. You're like, I want to do it now. Notice what I do with this kill. So remember how I said bottom earlier, the reason why kills were beneficial is if we get kills, we get the tower. In this case, I said, before this even happened, before any of this even happened, I don't remember this game perfectly, but before this happened, I said I wanted some play that we made to get kills top and take over the Roche area. So for me, what do you think I'm going to do when we get these kills? Because of the way I'm thinking about the game, what am I going to do?
Take the tower, probably. So to set a ward there on the high ground, and, like, we don't pull them out. We don't let them go from their base. But on the other side, like our team can kill Morphling. So even if we like take the advantage of the high ground and we will be sitting on their small medium campus at the top, we still can kill Morphling. So
Well,
I
I
don't
think at
know.
this stage in the game we can kill
It's a
Morph.
strange
It's
situation.
well, my point is that I said I want to move to this part of the map because Roche is my objective. Like, that is my objective. So we get these 3 kills. I want to first immediately check Roche. So if it's not up, like, which it isn't, then the only thing left to do is set up as best as we possibly can while they're dead to get Roche. Like, that's the only thing left we can do. Like what else are we supposed to do? If our objective's Roche, that has to happen first. Like, we can't do anything else. Obviously, if they were dead for 80 seconds, sure, go high ground. Like, they're dead, so we can go high ground. But they're dead for 20 seconds. Like, we're not going to get to high ground before they're alive. So,
It was better to take the 2 top, right?
no, we
Instead
don't
of
need to take
trying
the tier 2
to-
top. Look at what I do here. What does... Okay, I see what you're saying. Like, what is required to set up objectives like Roche? It's just controlling the area. What does it require to control the area? Those lanes get pushed in. Those lanes get pushed in. That's all that means. So, like, you watch players, like, I guarantee you, even though I am a trash Void Spear player, any mid laner in this exact circumstance, like CCNC, Gunner, any of those guys, the high-ranked guys, they would do exactly what I do, where they cut this lane. That's all they're going to do. They're just going to cut this lane and set up for Roche. So, what happens here? We won the fight. We cut this lane. We push this lane. And we go Roche. But for me, I, like, see you guys going high ground, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm coming. Like... I remember this game very vividly. It was only like 9 days ago. I'm like, yeah, I guess we're going. Like, okay. Like, into a techies? Like, that's why I cut this wave. But I'm coming. Yeah, as silencer, I remember this. It was definitely had ants in his pants for sure. So suddenly we, like, just surrender complete control of top. Now we've, like, that's the problem here. We could have just taken Roche while they were all in base.
So basically we backed in the wrong way, or because we like didn't have a vision on the support?
Yes. So here's what happened is, why do you think we backed to bottom?
We backed because I need to wait the cooldown of my ulti.
We have to wait the cooldown of your ulti, and that's where we have vision. Right? Like, that is the part of the map we technically control. Is that excusable? That we don't control the top half of the map after we just killed 3 heroes?
I don't think so, because
No, it's not.
basically we just take high ground and just wait someone coming on high ground, just instantly kill him. So
Absolutely.
This was the play.
Absolutely.
Probably.
Right? So, like, this is the negative of going high ground, though. Because you give the opponent, like, for instance, in this case, a free pop on your ult. Yeah, it's only 40-second cooldown, but, like, they're going to pop your ultimate, and for the next 20 seconds, they're going to make the most aggressive beneficial move to themselves that they can, which is immediately going to be run through top. Like, that's what they're going to do in the next 20 seconds. And so, as a player, internally, I know this. Like, I know they're going to do whatever is the best play for them, which is top. And that's exactly... So, like, I naturally see the rune bottom, and I retreat to it. Like, that's what I'm going to do. And it's a situation where it becomes very awkward, like, as a player. I'm telling you from my own perspective in these games, it becomes super awkward. And you're like, well, I guess this is what I do. And then it doesn't feel good at all. Like, it doesn't feel good. So the reason why all this went wrong is because when we got the kill, instead of clearing both lanes and setting up for Roche, we did something else. Like, that's really all it is. Like, that's why this is wrong. Like, if everyone's on the same mindset where we clear the lanes and set up Roche, then we just keep doing exactly what we're doing. Our supports are going to set up wards here. These are going to get de-warded. Like, this is never going to happen. And we're just going to control this area. We're going to take Roche, and we're going to, like, move on our merry way with the Aegis and Cheese. Like, that's what's going to happen.
But it was not worth it, like, from the start when we start backing, because in this case, why we would back, like, just straight to the base. So I think... But it's okay. It's...
The opponent is not going to take Roche? I don't remember exactly what happens here. The fact that my team is going high ground here with no Aegis is, like, mind-boggling to me. This whole game is mind-boggling. So, let's
basically it was to risky play, or...
So, let's talk about this. So, okay.
Yeah, can I make a 1 minute pause, please?
Yeah, go ahead. This has been an intense session. This was a 4 techies, guys, and Or people asking about the MMR. This Void Spirit's literally me. This guy is 6.5k MMR. I'm entirely aware of how Techies plays. And I have learned in the last few days that 6k players have absolutely no fucking clue how to deal with Techies.
That's very interesting.
It's crazy. All you do is take over a part of the map and don't let him back into it. Like, he can't do shit. Is Aegis that amazing here? Abso-fucking-lutely.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay. So, here's how I'm just gonna lay it out for you. So, in my games in the 6k bracket, I've been really confused when I'm not the guy that ends the game. Like, if I'm not the hero that's supposed to hit buildings or, like, control where my team goes, I have no idea how to play. Like, and I'm just gonna be blunt and say it's because of people like you I have no idea how to play. Because I have these objectives in my mind, and you're just not playing around them. Like, I'm actually, like, really confused. Like, when I play these games, I get super perplexed on myself, where I'm just like, why is my... Like, at this stage in the game, I've bought bots, because I kind of figure it's late enough where Jakiro can't really play alone, the rest of my team wants to play together, and the most impactful item, in my opinion, to buy would be something that allows me to clear creep waves and join you guys. Like, that's what I thought was the most impactful item for me. That's, like, the vision I have of this game. So the way I'm going to play is I'm going to play away from you guys and then show up to wherever you go. Like, I can't dictate anything about this game. Like, my hero just doesn't do that. So, all that matters is we get Roche here. Like, it's all that matters. And that should have been known the second we lost Aegis. Like, the second we lost the first Aegis. That's, like, the natural way of progression of this game. You get the Aegis, that whole process we did with the first Aegis, like, where we got the tier 1 tower bottom, took a fight top, took the mid tier 1, killed some heroes, took the Aegis, established some map control, killed the SF after searching for kills for like the entire time we had Aegis because we had map control, finally found a kill, pressured tier 2 mid, finally took it, just get the next Roche. Like, that whole process was perfect. Like, that was actually really good. The game was going really well. That's like almost an exact script for how the game should go. Like, when I say an exact script, like, can I say exactly where we're going to find these kills? Like, what's exactly going to happen? No, like, we played the map properly. We were looking for kills. We found one. We finally got it. We took an objective off of it, etc. Then the next play is, that has now made full use of our first Aegis. Like, we have used the first Aegis. We have come from down from, like, 2 to 3k to up to 2 to 3k. The map also feels like it's in our control. We then proceed to kill 3 heroes and walk high ground. And then play bottom. When, like, Roche is all that fucking matters. Like, that's all that matters. Like, someone in chat asked me specifically, does Aegis really matter that much when you have a Wraith King? And it's like, you're telling me you'd rather go high ground without an Aegis than go high ground with an Aegis? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Also, if I have Aegis, for instance, it allows me to play, like, hyper-aggressive on the map, where it happens to be where if they, like, smoke gank me as 5 heroes or something, I just lose my Aegis. Like, whatever. It gives us a lot more map control. Like, it allows us to do so much more on the map. So, like, at this point, like, 5 minutes ago, I would have just naturally gone to Roche. Like, I would have naturally controlled the... Like, I cut that wave, you guys cut mid-wave, we keep checking Roche, we walk back and do Roche immediately when it's up. If they come and fight us, great. They have a techies and they're walking into us. Like, yikes, they're not going to win that fight. And then, we're literally handing them the... Go ahead.
Basically, the line issue that I didn't have a Roche timer, probably. So I didn't know that Roche spawns, because we checked that, and after that there was, like... We didn't check it second time.
So the thing, though, is... Here's what I want to emphasize, is the Roche timer doesn't fucking matter. Like, in terms of... It could be... We could have lost the Aegis instantly. Meaning, like, we lost that Aegis, and it's gone for 8 or 9 minutes, right? We're still controlling the top half of the map for 8 or 9 minutes. Like, that's what we're fucking doing. Like, that's all that is. Like, it doesn't matter when that Roche spawns. All that matters is that's our next objective. Like, that is what we're taking. We have to get Aegis to take this high ground. Like, we have to. And it's like... The reason why I'm, like, being a little bit harsh now is because I completely know where you're coming from. Like, you are a good player. You're pretty damn high MMR. So you're going to be confident in a lot of your ideas. And I'm doing my best to be genuine and just shut you the fuck down, because you're wrong. And I've been in the reverse of this scenario. Like, I've been reverse here, where I'm the one that's very confident in my own thought of the game, and someone just slams it in my face. I'm stubborn. I fight them. They tell me, like, all the reasons I'm wrong, and I tell them all the reasons I think they're wrong, and I tell them why I did what I did. you're obviously a high-level player. You're going to have, like, an ego of, like, confidence that you believe you know what you're supposed to do in the game. Like, I 100% get that. But, like, at the end of the day, I know you're here for a session. I don't think you've been, like, a bad student or anything. I'm not, like, calling you out like that. All I'm saying is that, like, I hope for you moving forward that you could just try your best to listen to exactly what I'm saying and say, nothing fucking matters here. Any reason you come up with doesn't fucking matter. We had to take Roche. Like, that's the end of the story. Like, it had to die. Like, we had to go take Roche first. And that's, like, it's almost a script that of every game. Like, when we're Dire, we're gonna take the bottom half of the map, like, at least, like, the Radiant tier 1, in mid and bottom tier 1, where they're gonna look to take a fight either top or mid, take Roche, like, control the map, take the next Roche after controlling the top 2 lanes. Like, if you watch this formula, it's in almost every high-level game. It's in every high-level game. When Dire's the team that's supposed to get shit done. Like, that's exactly what it's going to look like. There's, like, 4 formulas in Dota. When Dire is the team that's supposed to get shit done, I guess there's 4. It's like, when Dire's the team that's supposed to get shit done and they're winning. When Dire's the team that's supposed to get shit done and they're losing. When Radiant's the team that's supposed to get shit done and they're winning, and when Radiant's the team that's supposed to get shit done and they're losing. Like, that's like the 4 formulas. Like that's like, other than that, there's no other really way it plays out. So all I'm saying is that rather than focusing on all of these random things that can occur, there's a lot of distractions. There's a lot of variables in Dota. You need to try to focus on the core thing that matters. Like, because if you try to worry about all the reasons why it could have gone wrong, rather than just worrying about what should have been done, you're going to just confuse yourself. Because there's so many reasons that this has been going wrong. And from a player like mine's perspective, when I have viewers that say, like, you know, why didn't you just tell your team what to do? It's like, I can't tell you how many times I'll say, guys, just play around Roche. And then one guy on the team, it doesn't matter who, it could have been the offlaner, could have been even 2 of the supports, isn't playing around Roche, and the whole game goes into shit. Like, it really does just take 1 or 2 players. At our bracket, right? Like, at our bracket, it could all just go to shit if 1 or 2 players is on the wrong page. And so as a carry player, the way you're going to reliably gain MMR is to think about the game in the way I'm trying to explain it to you. And you're going to have to basically, like, the team is going to follow you. Like, the odds are, at our bracket, the team is going to play around you when you are the strongest hero and you're also the carry. Like, they're going to play around you. So if they're going to play around you, it's definitely a lot on you as a carry player. Like, it is a lot determinant of your MMR that you are just playing the right parts of the map, playing the right objectives. I know I just went on a long speech, but...
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, that's good.
And I hope you feel like it's something you need to hear, because, like, I assure you, the higher and higher MMR anyone here is, like, obviously you're ranked like 400, 500, the more experiences I can relate to, where, like, I'm like, I've been there rather recently, you know, like, I've had this lesson taught to me. You know, Dota is its own journey where you have to learn all these things yourself, and we've gone through them all at some point. Like, I've experienced what you're experiencing right now. So if we get this Roche, let's go ahead and play it out. But the point I want to make about this whole game is that anytime we're not playing around the right part of the map, I think after I've pointed it out to you, you can agree that, man, this game feels real fucking weird.
For playing Dota 2.
Doesn't it feel real weird?
Yeah.
Like that stage in the game where we were playing top from like 10 to 15 minutes, right now when we're pushing high ground, the middle lane and bottom lane. Like, to me, this is just chaos. Like, I don't understand what the fuck is going on. You know, like, I'm just playing. You know, I'm playing the fight, probably misclicking a bunch of buttons because I suck at this hero, and I'm just like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. You know, like,
but that was the same feeling, because I feel like the team was waiting for my calls, but, like, obviously I didn't know what to do, and I was just running around Shadow Blade, trying to make a ganks, but I didn't, like, think about second rush problem. Yeah.
Yeah. So right now, they get Roche. Game is super weird now. Like, even weirder than before, because we were supposed to have that Roche. And all I know is people at your bracket and mine are super good at recognizing when the game feels super fucking awkward, but they're not good at, like, understanding why. Like, the higher up you go, the more likely you are at understanding why. I'm like, I think I'm kind of at the point where I always understand that the game's awkward and I always understand why, but I'm not very good at fixing it. Like when I play with these really good support players, like really good, like top 50 players, they're really good at just like directing the team to do the right thing. I really don't know how to do that. Like I don't know how to get you guys to just not. I don't. Like I'm at the point where I think I know how to play the map correctly. I think I know like what my role in the game is. But in terms of getting the whole team together as a cohesive unit, I think I'm really bad at it. And I also think that's why I'm not a good captain. So in these type of games for me, I'm like, well, shit. They took Roche. I guess I'll just keep pressuring bottom. I don't know why I'm on my player perspective or coaching you. Let's go ahead and go back here.
But I mean, probably this where we lost because he got like 4k from this fight and he grabbed Study and I just can't. Oh, this was a fun play, by the way.
This was the point where I did not realize how strong you were. I thought you would get dueled and die, and I did not commit to help you there.
I feel that we could kill them at this point, probably.
Yeah. Let's go ahead and end this game. I think a lot's gone wrong, and we have we have one more game to watch anyways.
Yeah.
But I definitely. You'll start. I know you're good enough, and usually what I've realized is when you point shit out to people at this level, and they're open to listening, and they're trying to utilize it in a way like, you know, what can I do with this information now to get better? You're just skilled enough at the game that you'll quickly figure out, you know, this is what I do with it. This is where I go from here. So what I'm telling you is, after everything I've said, really try to pay attention to the trends of where good shit on the map happens and where bad shit on the map happens. Like where things feel awkward, where things feel good, why. And you'll start like really noticing trends. And like people may say, BSJ, like, how do you know this is right? How do you come to this conclusion? What do you mean? And it's like thousands of games of paying attention. You know, that's all it is. Like it's just bringing it to your attention. You understand Dota needs to be thought of like this. A lot of players in your bracket lack this skill. It really is a defining feature for like going to the 7 to 8k brackets. There obviously are exceptions where I'm not going to call any players out. They're just really good at like playing the game mechanically, like so good to the point that they can like make it to 7 8k with very little game knowledge. But those are really exceptions to the rule, and those are not the type of players you want to be. Like nobody likes them. So I'm just calling it out as like, if you get this shit down, like you'll feel like the game's so straightforward. You'll feel like everything makes more sense, and when you play these high level games, you'll fit in. Like it really is a really cool experience for me. I'd say about 4 years ago when I was playing FPL, and I was in a similar spot to you where I didn't really know how to play the map, that a lot of what the upper tier players said to me just felt like foreign language, where like after they said it in that specific game, I'd be like, yeah, cool, like I get what you're going for, but I never really understood like exactly why they were doing it at the time they were doing it. And like I wouldn't have been able to come to that conclusion myself. Like that's the main thing. I would not have been able to come to that conclusion if they had not explicitly told me. I think I'm kind of at the point, after studying a lot and like practicing this kind of thing, the point I think I'm personally at is just fucking pressing buttons on heroes I don't know how to play very well. I think that's kind of the point I'm at right now. But yeah, so for you, I think you have a lot of upward potential. I think your attitude is overall good, and I think a lot of the things you did in that Wraith King game, you were very aggressive. I felt it, and you were trying to get shit done. You had a right mindset on what the game scenario is. I didn't mind your build. Like, I thought your vision of the game was good. Now, just making that happen in the right place at the right time, it will skyrocket you, I'm 100% sure. It's a slow process. So, long game, long session, but I thought it was really good. It just had to be gone into. Obviously, I think you're my highest coaching student I've ever done. So, who are you in this game? Sorry, moving on.
I'm the Juggernaut.
Okay, Juggernaut. Am I in this game too?
No.
Okay, phew. Didn't have to watch myself shit the bed again. Okay, cool. So.
Prepare for battle.
I'm a big fan of at least 1 or 2 damage items on Jug. I don't like the salve. If you're gonna go the mango, I think the mango is basically a healing ward, right? Like that's kind of what it is. So the healing ward to me on Jug is a salve. So 52 base damage. You also right click a lot. You have a crit, so every little bit of damage matters. You don't have the best agi gain. I either buy like Slipper and two branches instead of the mango, or I go triple branch here instead of the salve. I'm just pointing out to you my thought process on Jug. I think this is too much regen. That's basically what I'm going for here.
You will be forever.
Just whenever the higher level you go, the more explanation I feel like I need to give, because you can process it. Okay, continuing here, let's go. Okay, good aggression early. Right around here. I want to point out very specific things to you in lane. So this is an example where high-level CSing comes into play. Okay. So it's similar to before, where you remember with that range creep and the melee creep, they're both going to die about the same time.
Them out, right?
So the way I look at this, how many tower shots is this melee creep, the top one, going to take?
2.
Okay. Will you kill it in one hit after 2 tower shots looking at its health right now?
Yes.
Okay, so let's do the math. Your tower, it hits for 100, okay? After armor, it hits for an average of 100. This thing has 282 health. So it's going to be at 82 health after 2 tower shots, and you hit for 67 or 70. Is that enough?
You probably know.
Okay.
I thought the range creep were hitting the top creep.
Okay. Perfect. So we're now going to get to where I'm going here. So, you already beat me to it. So, in order for this creep to die to the tower in 2 hits plus 1 hit from me, I need this range creep to kill it, right? Or
Yeah.
I need this range creep to hit it once, right?
Yeah.
So what do I need to do with this creep right here? The bottom one.
I need to kill the bottom one as fast as possible.
Yeah, you need to hit it right now and then hit it again, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just got only one CS.
Yeah,
right?
but see what I see? It actually matters a lot. Like, that understanding of CSing at your level will make a huge difference. So just pointing it out to you, my thought process, I know you can figure it out for yourself.
Dire's top
I'm
tower
Gabe
is
Newell.
under attack.
You've just achieved first blood. Thanks and have fun.
Overall, your lane mechanics are pretty good. You know, you don't get to 6.5k without having pretty good lane mechanics. It's just the little things I'll always point out to you if I see them. Super little things. I'm actually just curious. What's your ping?
70.
Okay, yeah, it's pretty hard to lane jug on
I'm
third.
from Kansas,
Pretty hard to lane against heroes like Void Spirit on 70. It's kind of interesting. It's just like on what I've noticed is when I lane against Void Spirit on my 80 ping at home, I can't dodge Ether Remnants for the life of me. But when I play against it on 20 ping, I never walk into Ether Remnants. So I was actually
Yeah, I was sure that I can dodge it, but somehow...
you can't. I'm sorry. Like, people can bullshit me all they want, say I play on 120 ping, what was me, whatever. Like, you can't dodge Ether Remnants on 70 or more ping. Okay, I was just curious. So, first and foremost, in this lane, I don't really care that much about movement speed. I know it's nice. You went boots, didn't you? Or did you go Wraithband? I actually didn't check. You went boots. So, the way I look at this lane is I'm going to be sustained trading a lot. So, it's interesting to me. Like, you're going to be taking a lot of damage, aren't you? You're going to be taking the shield from Void Spirit. You're going to be taking the fire spirits from Phoenix. Aren't you just going to take a bunch of random damage you can't really help taking? Right? Like, yeah, maybe you can dodge some of it, but, like, you're going to take it, right? So it's funny to me that you play Wraith King and you buy a wand, and then you play Jug and you don't buy a wand. Like, you don't buy any stat items on Jug. It's kind of fun. It's, like, very fascinating to me. I think that's, like, just the complete opposite of how I view it. Like, on that Wraith King game, I would have gone, like, probably Ring of Protection straight into Glove of Haste Phase Boots, maybe a stick. But in this Jug game, I'm going Wraithband Wand as my first 2 items. Like, the Wraith King or Wraithband full Wand is what I would go in this lane. With the idea that I'm going to take damage I can't avoid. I have to hit this Void Spirit with a threat. If I have Wraithband plus 1, I'm hitting for 62 with an extra 11 attack speed. Or, sorry, 63. And if I have just boots, I'm hitting for 54. You know, it's like, that's how I'm looking at it, right? Like, that's like a 20% damage increase and faster attack speed. So it's like a 30% damage increase, you know?
yeah, but you're losing the full potential, I believe, if you, like, go because before level 4, Earth Spirit will not taking the spell to dissimulate, and with boots I have like some kill potential on him, but which I don't have if I go to sustain. Yeah, but I died here anyway. But
My question for
you-
you, no, my question for you, okay. So you have some kill potential on Void Spirit. If he only goes boots, like say his first item is boots, don't you just have more damage than him? Like, don't you just trade well with him?
I believe, yeah.
Okay.
In this case, yeah.
So, like, if he just goes boots and you don't, you'll trade well with him, right? If he... So, if he...
No, obviously, if you go, like, multi-talismans, I will trade with him, like, worse than could be. But...
Okay. Here, I'm going to lay this out. It's the same idea. You're trying to capitalize on an advantage I don't think you are strong enough to capitalize on. So, here's what I'm trying to say here. So, your idea is you can punish this guy with boots by spinning him down because he doesn't have dissimulate till 4. You know what? Completely reasonable thought process. Now drop it in the fucking gutter and let's talk about this. I think you actually have to be able to hit this guy. Like, I think you have to. I think if he's, like, full health, your, like, every 40-second threat of spin at level 1 and 2 just doesn't fucking matter. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, your spin is too long of a cooldown to rely as a threat in this early stage in the lane. Like, once you get level 5, your spin's a huge threat. Maybe even level 3. Like, your spin's a huge threat. But right now, the cooldown's just too long for you to be building items around that ability. Like, you should not be building items that capitalize on one spell. And then at that point, I'm kind of thinking, well, if I don't really hit my power spike till level 3 or 5, can I really utilize that power spike all that well? You know? So then the next step is, I'm also thinking, well, if he goes boots and I go Wraithband Wand, I'm going to out-CS this fuck. And every time he walks up for a CS, I'm going to hit him. Even though he has faster movement speed, I'm going to hit him. If neither of you has boots, who's faster?
Me?
By how much?
By 5 or 10?
Yeah, with the new patch, it's 10. So either way, you're faster. So if I go no boots and he goes boots, I out-trade him and out-CS him. If he goes stat items and I go stat items, I can still spin him. Do you see how my solution addresses him on both capacities, right? Like, he can either... What?
But you also can dodge fire spirits if you have boots, and it's like much harder to do if you don't have boots. I know this is maybe a bad fact, but
No. I want you to give your mindset, because it's like the more high MMR people are, the more likely it is to like be a good reason. So it's like how do I word this? Jug's like similar to PA, where it's like if you have no right-click items, you just don't hit hard. Like, you just don't hit hard at all. Like, if I'm Jug, the only time I'd rush boots if I'm against Batrider, because he can't trade with me anyway. Like, because he does 40 damage. Like, he can't trade with me anyway. But, like, on Jug, to have your spin be a threat, you have to be able to trade with the guy. Like, because if he doesn't if he's not threatened by you, he may even just adjust his skill build where he trades with you constantly, forces you to spin, and then backs off. Or he just plays really aggressively, make sure he's topped off on health, and out-CSs you because you hit for 54 and he hits for, more than you. Like, most heroes in the offlane hit for more than you. It's like, if you watch pro PA players, they go, like, 4th item boots. Like, they'll get, like, Blightstone, Wand, 2 Wraith Bands, and then boots. These heroes have other issues. I understand you're thinking about fire spirits. And so, like, if I'm against, like, Phoenix Bat, sure, I'll go boots. Or if I'm against, like, Phoenix Centaur, where even if I buy Wraithband, I can't trade with the guy anyway. Like, I can't trade with Centaur anyway if I have a Wraithband. So I'll buy boots. But I think in this specific lane, if you buy Wraithband 1, you can trade with this Void Spirit. Like, I think you really can. And if Phoenix is spamming spells on you, you're just sustaining through them. With the mana from the wand and the healing word usage. I just want you to think about it, man. I'm trying to give you my best perspective. I know you're a gold tier Jug. I've played a shit ton of Jug. I really do think conceptually he's one of the heroes I best understand.
I mean, but I've played Jug for like a long time because he's the hero of it.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
After they took him to be, I stopped playing, so that's why it could be a little bit rough. like because mechanics not so good as another heroes right
Okay.
now.
All I'm going for with this, I want to be very clear to you. I guess viewers can learn something too here. Is I really couldn't give a shit about the lesson I'm giving you on Jug specifically. I'm giving you this lesson to hopefully have you apply it to every single fucking hero in the game. It's like,
Yeah, I understand.
yeah. I want to make sure because if you can idea like thinking of like can I trade with them, like how do I win this matchup? Like do I just sustain through it? When's my power spike? Like I know what you were going for. Now let's shift that mindset and not like you kind of all in something is what I think you did. And notice what's happening. Do you see what I'm saying here? Like, because of your lack of stat items, you can't even spin them. Like, that's what that's the vision I was trying to portray to you, is it doesn't matter if you can't hit this guy. Like, your spin alone is not enough damage. It needs to also require you to wear this guy down with a bunch of hits. Like, boots, sure, great. The rest of the lane, they're winning. That's how I'm looking at it. And that's why, like, if your ability is super low cooldown on whatever hero you're playing, and you can buy an item to make use of that ability, sure. But, like, your ability's not low enough cooldown to play around it in this lane. So, okay. Let's see. Fast forwarding. I'm gonna be a bit late for the next guy who signed up. Just know that, dude, but that's fine. I'm sure you're okay with learning from another selection. So you do go Wand next. What I most often notice with your bracket is you guys usually go the right items, it's just in the wrong order, if it's ever wrong. It does speak a lot to your understanding of power spikes. Notice how your spin didn't even work until you had Wand anyway. Like, it's just kind of funny, right? Like, it's funny. You're actually proving me right here, but it's better because since you went the right items in general, you can learn a lot from it. That's fine, not the best, but...
No, that was unfortunate because I didn't put it in the wrong place. I should put Healing Ward in trees, but I was not like, not playing Jack for a long time.
Gotcha. Yeah, Healing Ward micro is unique to Jug, obviously, so when I don't play Jug for a while, that's definitely what lacks for me as well. Okay.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
You didn't want that.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack.
Double damage.
I'm not commenting because everything's just normal right now.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Okay, yep, everything's pretty standard right now. I think you're playing the lane fine.
Dire's top tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is falling.
I'll take it. Killing spree.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's top tower.
Yeah, you seem to do this a lot. You seem to do this a lot, where you like get this initial kill, and then like your immediate reaction after the kill is like not on point. Sometimes it's like whether or not you take an objective afterwards. In this case, it purely has to do with the fact that this guy's respawning. So, always try to. My only lesson from this is it may seem really simple, but it's a mistake I make too. Be very aware when you're in the middle of random skirmishes who's respawning and shit. And like with their likelihood of showing up. Like if that's a Terrorblade respawning, are you worried about that?
No, of course not.
No, right? But Necro respawning, he's like 99% gonna show up to this fight, right? So obviously just chase too far here.
Thanks for playing Dota 2.
Is under attack.
Double
Dire's
kill.
middle Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Okay.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Dire's
Killing domination, I guess.
Just out of curiosity to hear your reasoning. Why, past the 10-minute mark, did you feel good about going back bottom here? Like, why did you continue, like, farming the dangerous part of that?
Because I can spin TP and they should not be able to kill me so easily. So they only Necro could kill me if he stopped TP with Disguise. So it's a pretty good jug game.
Like, why wouldn't you go, like, top or mid, though?
Because it was at the time I was respawned, both of those spawns was already taken by other teammates, and I don't feel like I pushed them out from there.
Okay. I just want to hear your reasoning. You have the right mindset there, so you did the right thing. I was just... What I've learned is sometimes with players that I'm coaching, like, they don't actually know why they did what they did, but your mindset there is 100% correct, so... Just wanted to hear what you thought.
bottom tower is under attack.
The fact that top tier 1 was already gone, the fact that you're not strong enough to take mid tower, and the fact that you're in mode farm and you're not threatened by the opponent is what made that good. I agree with your decision not to defend that tower. They could have dove you. I think your reaction's fine, but I definitely would have ideally TP'd mid there. Let me rewind here too.
I don't know, why Necro doesn't ult me, it was fun.
So can people stop being bad? Anybody in chat, does Necro go through spin TP, guys?
I thought it's gold.
Pierce's spell immunity, no. Okay, cool. They patched that like 7.25, I think. 7.24. Yeah, so if you were playing here thinking that Necroll canceled your TP, then you're bad. You definitely should not be playing there if you think it cancels.
Oh my god.
It does not work on you.
I thought it like anti-mage ulti.
Anti-mage ulti, yeah, anti-mage ulti got nerfed as well, so that actually makes the Jug anti-mage matchup like way better for Jug.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this is all good. Maybe a bit of a preemptive Omni Slash on a Void Spirit, but I think this fight's fine. Where do you think you should have gone here now, though?
Top?
I would say it's either top or bottom. I think like one or the other is really good. You have Healing Ward. You're going to be full health. If you want, you can do this. You know what? I don't hate your play. I personally would have gone bottom, but if Sand King insists on taking bottom, I think it's very strange for him to go bottom, though, because he has this. And you have...
I just wanted to farm us up like as soon as possible to end the Battle Fury, I remember.
Yeah, no, so you're like, the reason why I'm saying is like, when you're in mode farm, on Wraith King you are in mode farm, get shit done. On Jug, you're in mode farm, don't get shit done. Would you agree? Like until Battle Fury? Like until like Battle Fury plus like maybe one item. This is like a very common Jug game where you don't really fight all that well, but you are really hard to kill. So for like the first 20 minutes, like... How do they actually kill you, right? So a lot of times when that fits my description, I'll usually play the dead lane on Jug as much as I possibly can. Just because usually any hero that's now going to take it from you has to also be strong, because it's this late into the game, and it's like a Sand King with Blink Dagger.
Yeah,
so, like,
they shouldn't be able to kill him easily.
Well, what I'm saying is, like, I would rather have a Sand King with a Blink Dagger where you are, and you where Sand King are. Do you see what I'm saying here?
Yeah.
And that's usually initiated by you. Like, usually other players will adjust their farm patterns to you. So, like, I would have probably done this fight, and then from here, I would have farmed my way to bottom. Like, I would have maybe killed this camp and then walked here. I guarantee you, if you show up in this lane, most Sand Kings with a Blink Dagger will just leave. Like, if he gets really mad at you, he's just, like, griefing you. But the point is, like, if top lane was, like, pushing in, like, if this lane was, like, here, or maybe even, like, up here, it would make a little bit more sense to me if you wanted to like farm your way to like right here. But top lane feels really awkward for you to go to. You're not going to pressure this tier 2 just yet because you don't have Battle Fury. You're not really that strong to take objectives, but you are strong enough not to die. You have a TP on cooldown, or available, excuse me. So like if you clear this out, they gank you again like they just did, I would spin TP to top. It's like the same idea where I'm painting a picture for myself where like if I'm top and they force me out, I don't really want to TP bottom, but if I'm bottom and they force me out, I'm very happy to TP top. So I'd rather walk bottom and be ready to TP top. Like that's like how I'm envisioning the game to play out. But let's see what you do. I don't think there's anything here that's particularly terrible, but I think it would be better the other way, and I just always think you should try to optimize at our level. It's very important on the average case of games. Like, I think farming bottom for you is very good right now. You'd be farming Ancients, you'd be farming the lane anytime you wanted to. You could spend TP if they brought 4 heroes. If you don't farm bottom, notice how Sand King just left. Like, notice how he's not there anymore. Like, he's naturally going to leave. Unless he's just bad, which, yeah, most people in this bracket are pretty good. Even though I flame them a lot. I just noticed bottom lane going unfarmed, and I think it's because you were best to farm it. That's what I'm really trying to emphasize. So, okay. We have Battle Fury now. I think with Battle Fury, it's reasonable to start looking to pressure top. Just because you push the lane much faster, you don't have to spin to push the wave very fast. Yep, so now you start pressuring. Even though you're not survivable, you do a lot of damage. When I say not survivable, like, you're not going to team fight, but they're not going to kill you. So you do enough damage to do this. I think this was a bit antsy, by the way. This is like the complete opposite, where I don't like TPing to my own safe lane if I don't have to. So my question is, who on your team in the next minute, because that's about how long your TP cooldown is going to farm this area?
I don't know, maybe Storm or Dark Willow?
Maybe? But how many of your teammates could have TP'd to this bottom tower and farmed it?
I mean, whoever has TP could TP.
Anyone.
Could TP and farm it.
Anyone, right? So earlier when I talked about why I wanted you to go bottom, but even though Sand King was already there, it's the same idea. It's like me thinking to myself, nobody else on my team wants to be here. I don't mind being here. There's really nowhere else better for me to be, so I'm going to go there. It's not like sacrificing your own farm, right? Like, I'm not telling you to be selfless and give up farm. You're just farming the right part of the map. In this case, you're getting the same amount of farm by clearing this creep wave bottom as you would in the jungle. But you're effectively giving up farm that would otherwise be taken. Notice how when you play top here in the triangle, you were getting the same amount of farm, but nobody was farming bottom. And now it's the reverse, where you TP'd bottom when nobody else could farm this area. You could have killed like all 3 of these jungle camps, maybe all 4, before the 20-minute mark, and then cleared them again. You also have 2 wards, and you can also spend TP at any point. So, like, TPing somewhere, this means that you can't spend TP. So do you feel comfortable playing near the tier 1 tower bottom right now?
Pretty much yes, because Nigger is dead, so I don't think...
Okay, when he respawns, do you feel comfortable playing bottom?
Not really.
No, the point is, right, like, the reason why you're survivable is that you can TP away, right? Like, that's what makes you survivable. You can play anywhere you fucking want on the map, couldn't you? Really? Like, you could.
Yeah.
So the way I look at this is, if I'm really survivable because of a spin TP on Jug, this applies to Lifestealer, it applies to, like, Slark if I can ulti TP, I'm really avoiding TPing anytime I can. Like, I don't want to TP. I want that option. Because I can just play like a madman. I can start cutting creeps behind their fucking tier 2 mid if I want. Honestly. Like, you could, like, kill these 4 camps in their jungle and walk behind their tier 2 mid and cut it. What are they going to do? Like,
nothing.
You know what I mean? Like, I want you to start thinking about your limits. Like, I'm telling you right now, like, the reason why I'm upset about this TP is just because your limits are now, like, this Ancients, maybe 1 more wave bottom, and then your own jungle. If you stayed top, you could have farmed their entire jungle. You could be cutting waves between their tier 2s, like, randomly. And if they eventually respond to you, then you TP bottom. Because, like, now that's completely safe. You've now forced them to deal with you in some random way. You've kind of just removed yourself from the map by TPing to bottom here when you're actually really strong. So, just something to think about. These are a lot of the little things that define 6Ks to me. Like, I play it, I'm like, they could have just done that better.
You know why it looks so bad? Because like I was thinking whole game that Necro can stop me with the sky's spin.
Oh, really?
That's why
Okay,
this game,
well...
yeah, it's played weirdly.
Okay, I
Because
guess
if
I
you
will
notice-
think about this game from that perspective and see how you play it. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Okay, that's, you know what? It's reasonable, but I've learned today that the first guy thought Axe Spin was physical, and you thought Necro is also. I guess mechanics of the game matter way more than people like to lead on if it's affecting your entire playstyle. You definitely probably wondered why I didn't ult you again there.
yeah, I was wondering the whole game.
Well, I guess your questions have been answered. Okay, so, question. Are you wanting to fight them 5v5?
I think not, because I can fight them 5v5 like so easily.
Is your hero strong in a 5-on-5 engagement?
No.
Okay.
And there's Necro especially, so...
Okay,
once I
Necro's
stop-
just super annoying. Like, right when you come out of spin, if you're half health, you're just dead, right? So, my question for you is, how do you avoid these things happening?
If I push the lane and I was somewhere on their T3, they would be forced to go back.
Okay. So, why are you being forced to fight here at 22 minutes?
Because I was in rock position when they come.
Would you agree it's because you TP'd bottom at 1930?
Yeah. It was
Okay.
always better, exactly.
Okay. So, the reason why... I can't really explain it to you until it plays itself out. That 19.5-minute TP is what I call a map surrendering TP. Like, that's what I call it. Because you are now confined to this area on the map bottom, and if the opponent wants to fight you, they're just going to walk to that area. Like, now what? You know what I mean? Like, now what? Like, you don't actually have a choice. Like, if they fight you at that area, what else are you going to do? Like, you don't have a choice. But if you were, like, up top, if they're fighting down here, you could have maybe even been hitting tier 3 right now, you know? As an option. Like, it gives you two different things to do. And so these decisions aren't... It becomes super awkward decision-making for the opponent. It also becomes very straightforward for your teammates if they're thinking about it. Because if your team is considering fighting them when they're like 4-man mid and they see you threatening the tier 3 top, if you ever watch my high-level games, you'll hear people like Dubu saying, guys, be patient, they have to respond to top. Be patient, they have to respond. You know, like, if they don't respond, we can literally just sit here and they lose their tier 3, right? It makes your teammates' decisions very easy. If you have a Storm Spirit and you're pressuring that tier 3, and suddenly the Void Spirit or some shit TP's out, what's that Storm gonna do?
He should TP base.
No, I'm saying your Storm Spirit's here, like where you are, and the Void Spirit TP top to respond to your push. What's the Storm Spirit gonna do?
He's just killing him. He's just killing Void Spirit.
No, he's gonna go kill somebody. It could be the Void Spirit, you know, but he's gonna kill somebody. He's gonna go on somebody because he knows the opponent team is separated. You know what I mean? Like, he's gonna identify, oh, there's a Snapfire showing, kill that guy. You know, there's a Terrorblade, guys. There's no Void Spirit, fight them. You know, like anything like that. The whole idea is that. Like, I want you to know, if you should watch it for sure. I did a replay analysis on Miracle. It's on my YouTube. It's a jug game. It's a really hard jug game. One where not only can he not fight, but he's also pretty easy to kill while he's farming. And I talk a lot about this concept, where I talk about, like, making sure that you maintain that constant pressure on the top lane if you're Radiant, constant pressure on the bottom lane if you're Dire. In these type of games. In the games where your hero is really strong by itself, but does not want to fight them 5-on-5. Like, sometimes this, like, this definition of, like, what the circumstance is, where, like, you can't fight them 5-on-5, is the entire fucking game. Like, sometimes it literally works like this the entire game. Like, there's no point in items where you want to fight them head-on. Like, there's just no point. I had it on stream, like, the week or two ago, where I was Terrorblade, and Mason was Drow, and he was like godlike on Drow, and I just kept forcing the bottom lane, and we never fought them head on. He never died on Drow, and we won the game. Like, they never took a 5-on-5, we killed his teammates, and then we won the game. Like, it's just funny, because my point is that it's really hard for people to process this, but you are actually in this super fucking awkward scenario because you TP'd bottom in 1940, or 1930, or whatever. It usually affects you later. A lot of times, if you're in an awkward situation where you were forced to fight when you didn't want to, you can go back into your own replay and rewind for like the next 5 minutes and see where that TP happened, because it is almost certainly a TP. It always is. Now the game's super awkward though. I'm just gonna be honest with you, it is super awkward. You should have gone back top, same thing. You playing bottom here. This just isn't relevant pressure to the opponent. They just don't care. But the fact that you're pressuring a lane is fine. You TP back to base, and now thought this is exactly what it should look like, except ideally you'd want one hero to respond to you first. But the opponent, like, overextending into your base first is, like, the ideal, you know, circumstance we're looking for. Notice the difference between this one. You were pressuring a lane and then you TP'd. Much better result than before. So having that foresight to see, like, I want to be pressuring a lane in a game like this and then show up to fights, and any move you make that goes against that notion is going to make your game really awkward. That's exactly what happened there before, but then it actually worked out for you. Then no one even respond either. They just overextended. So that was good. Yeah, I think as Jug, it's fine to siege here. I think you guys should be back now, though. I honestly think I would have forced the fort and backed off. Pretty sure that's what I would have done. You don't have Omni Slash. I don't know why you guys want to fight. Oh, I guess it's working. Okay. You know what? I probably would have backed off and Roche there, but you know what? I guess no meta on Terrorblade makes that potentially a really good play. So, you know what? Not going to fault that one. I knew you weren't going to die there. I just didn't think anything good was going to happen, but you guys got 3 kills, so color me surprised. Also a bit of PTSD from my part on your last game, where you just never rushed. Okay, this is good.
More than 2 kills, but less than 4 kills.
Okay, we have mid lane and top lane pressured in. 4 heroes dead. Great.
Dominating, I guess.
Decisions are going to be really easy in games like this, where you just do this. In this case, because Roche is dead, because they TP top to respond to you, I probably would have walked bottom. So at this stage in the game, when you're Radiant, so we're just going to reverse it. Roche is still your next objective. I want to be very clear. Roche is your next objective. Maybe you will stumble upon a fight that's good because the opponent team tries to leave their base or whatever, but Roche is your next objective. And so the way I think about this is that since Roche is dead right now and is going to be dead for a little while, it's actually usually better, if possible, to go bottom, because what that's going to do is it's going to force out the lane. It's going to force one of them to go bottom, and then you go top, right? Like, and then you take over the top half, and you don't have to deal with bottom for a while. So that's why I like to go bottom here over top, not only because you force TPs, but also because you're going to force them away from your future objective. I'm not a huge fan of this butterfly. I think Silver Edge was straight up better. I think you wanted an attack speed item for Egg. I think overall, Butterfly, it's like nice against Terrorblade, but to be honest with you, is Terrorblade really the one killing you? Like,
No,
right?
he's not.
So I think Silver Edge was like a strictly better version of the same item. I wouldn't really want an item that kills them, meaning like I'm not looking for Abyssal yet, like before, like I'm during this item, because you have 1, 2, 3, 4 heroes with stuns, right? So you don't need a stun.
Yeah, I didn't get Abyssal. I get Satanic instead because I thought that Satanic could help me survive like in the long fights, and Necro couldn't ult me so easy.
Yeah, I think I honestly would have gone Silver Edge Ags this game. I'm pretty sure that's what I would have gone. I probably would have gone like Silver Edge Ags into... I could even consider Satanic at that point, but I think your hero just needs to be as luxurious as possible this game and as like much damage threat as possible. But you don't need disables. I don't think you need disables. And I honestly think your survivability could just come in items that give you raw health. Like I don't think you actually need a Satanic, I think outside of your spin, you're dead. Like, your hero's not very good outside of spin. Like, they have so much shit that just goes onto the ground. Like, all their heroes just throw abilities out in an area, right? So outside of spin, I don't feel good, but I want to be able to take skirmishes, because if I'm outside of a 5v5, my hero's very powerful. So, like, I'm thinking Silver Edge Axe here just works really well. Silver Edge is nice 300 health. Axe is like another 400 health. You're sitting at like 2,700 health. That's pretty comfortable amount that you're sitting at there. You also set up for potential kills with Storm Spirit by scouting out. Yeah, I just think Butterfly is not a good item this game. Like, I don't think it addresses the problems you have. Other than the egg, which, like I said, Silver Edge could have done just as well. Silver Edge is 45 attack speed. Butterfly is only 60. So, like, yeah, it's a bit more, but... Like, right here, I would have really loved you having a Silver Edge. Dude, like, it also plays with the way you want to play. Butterfly doesn't help you play the way you want to play. Do you guys just lose here? No, okay, it's a much longer game.
No.
Just because I want to make sure I don't go too over time for the next guy, I am going to wrap this up here. Is there any questions you have moving forward about this game real quick, or anything left over? We talked about a lot of shit, obviously.
Well, no, I think it's like everything's pretty clear.
Okay, cool, man. I guess I'll be seeing you in my game soon, so...
Cool, thank you.
No problem, dude. Good luck.
Good luck.
That was my highest coaching session MMR to date. First time I've had one in my games. That's pretty funny. Definitely felt like I needed to go into way more detail. I think that's like a premium coaching session that you don't get very often here. So it was a replay analysis, yeah, but I don't think it's the same as like head-on talking to a guy and discussing the game. Like, I think there's a lot to learn from as a viewer to hear his perspective, because if you really compare his responses to like the 4K players, it's very clear his understanding is much higher, but like it doesn't make it right. You know what I mean? So it's like it's really cool as a spectator, I think, to hear that kind of session. So hope you guys enjoyed that.